Welcome back. We may as well start with the horror show that Raymond Ackerman is mercifully missing. The Pick and Pay trolley crash. Where to begin? Debt, almost 8 billion. The seeming collapse of its core business, its distribution woes, or its 4 billion rights offer plan. So I was on a plane when this happened, fortunately, because I'd been buying myself a little bit of Pick and Pay shares. I expected the rights issue, and I even thought 3 to 4 billion. I got no words.
You know what happens? I was talking to Simon before we started recording. When volumes start to fall in a business, that's dangerous because then the fixed costs start to have a greater impact on your margins and on your business. And that's dangerous. So when you can't do volumes anymore, that's when you get into this kind of trouble. And that's what's been happening with Pick and Pay. If you go through it, if you go through the numbers, it's really a loss of selling, even especially in their stores, which they're now going to have to close and sell their own stores, those that they own. So it's a danger in any company when volumes start to fall. Then you start to feel this kind of economic stress.
That's too technical to use, Ackerman's own words. This is not how you catch a mackerel. And I think when he died with 3 of those 4 legs of the table. There's nothing left.
He took them.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see how it was kind of, it's been coming, but then all of a sudden you hit this precipitous plunge.
You saw their debt from August to now.
3.4 billion up.
But how does that happen? So fast.
You can't refinance. When you can't refinance, you're
not selling anything.
I thought it was Summers kitchen sinking it, and then I read it, and I'm like, no,
you can't. You have no negotiating power.
So what's the ultimate? What does this look like in a year or two's time? Does Pick and Pay exist? Is it just Boxer? Is it Pick and Pay?
Well, they're selling off Boxer to raise money. This is another. You start to sell off businesses to survive. This is survival for a Pick and Pay. That's ludicrous. Yes, they've got the businesses all over and they've got the infrastructure and that. But
and what really annoys me is that all these superstar CEOs that they've hired from Europe, they're gone with hundreds of millions.
Wow. Seen that with Trek before too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like SAA in retail form.
Well,
this is the Coleman
Massmart was in a similar position. I don't know exactly, but same kind of thing. You don't want it to happen to Spar.
Actually, there was a lot of ouch on the JSE this week, not least from the mining sector's results. Diamonds are only for sometimes. PGMs are in the soup. Gold isn't even that good anymore. And nickel's a no-show. Here's Craig Miller from Amplatz on the job cuts they've had to embark on given plunging commodity prices.
So a key driver is really around the energy and around some of the consumption. And therefore, that leads into the work that we also have been doing over the last number of months to reduce our cost base. But unfortunately today, really taking as a last resort, announcing a restructuring of our business. And that means that we will be entering into a Section 189A process to sort of review about 3,700 jobs, or about 17% of our headcount going forward.
And what does extinguished GBV mean?
Gender-based violence.
Oh.
How unwoke are you,
David?
I'm embarrassed.
Go to the back of the cloth.
Yes, but why would it be on a miner's back?
Anyway.
But this is, and Wayne McCurry's always tweeting about it, this is classic bottom of the cycle. In terms of cutting jobs, closing shafts, a lot of panicking happening. Of course, we don't know how long we stay at the bottom of the cycle. Is it like that?
We need the Americans. As much as we hate the Americans in this country, we need the Americans to re-stimulate the global economy so that people can start buying commodities again. Because it's not going to happen by Putin's not going to do it.
It's not happening in China.
And certainly China's not going to do it. So I think we should get a little closer to the Americans.
Home price sales in China down, 0.07 year on year.
But the BHP Billiton CEO said China is where they're making money, which is, I don't know, I didn't believe that.
Iron ore and copper are still okay. It was PGM, so in Amplatz's case, and in Anglo American's case, De Beers was a horror show for them.
They're doing okay. They're mining at these levels, So if you go look at the cost of producing a ton of iron ore. It's nothing. Even
$41.
Kumba. Yeah. And the
Selling
price is
120.
120. Yeah. Okay.
So
But
maybe
then they
this is-
can't get it to port.
that's
But maybe
our
it
problem.
isn't actually the bottom of the mining cycle, because the other thing is that Amplat's actually had, 15 billion cash. The bottom of the cycle is when no one's got any money, they've only got debt.
Yeah, look, don't underestimate the strength of these, but they have to mine to profit. You know, they can't just give it away. They can't mine for the sake of mining.
Bright, does this just confirm to you why you very rarely buy resources companies?
That's
No, that'll be confirmation bias. It's too complex. Don't understand it, and low margins, too much competition. Just stay away.
Yeah.
So they got 15 billion. Shouldn't they do a share buyback? Isn't this what you do at low prices with excess cash?
But then again, if it lasts another 4 years,
Carol.
he's going to look like the
Yeah, but she
idiot.
did it at the top.
Okay.
What you're saying is this isn't the bottom. Okay, I take, moving on. It wasn't all bad out there, even if the market was a bit iffy in its response to some results. Just look at Bidcorp, still growing earnings in double digits.
There is a normalisation post-COVID. Last year, the comparative year absolutely had that pent-up demand, as you say, and then this year has been normalised, but it's been, I guess, impacted by economic realities around the world, with inflation, with higher interest rates, with cost of living crisis, with consumer pressure, with mortgage stress, which is all just normal stuff going forward, and there'll always be circumstances and factors. So this is a far more normalised situation. We need to be pragmatic.
It was good numbers.
That's good business.
They made an interesting point around China as well, because China disappointed. And they made the point that, what happened? Like, everyone could suddenly go on holiday. So Chinese went on holiday. Of course, they didn't. I don't know where they were all going. But, broadly across, Europe, strong.
Yeah, I think David Shapiro, what he was going to say is that it's a global business. And obviously, if you're not operating in South Africa only, you get the benefit of all these different currencies. And obviously, they're great operators. They're there when the action is happening, and they're reaping the rewards.
The market was a bit disdainful of the results.
It had discounted them already. It knew the results.
They should look at the share price and how it's performed against something like a Bidvest. It's done very well.
There's a very important point that he said about the Chinese traveling. I think that's why I don't underestimate their purchasing power. And that's why you can still buy the luxury goods, and you can still buy
late cycle stuff. Yeah.
You don't have to go into China per se, but you can still buy those companies servicing the Chinese.
Yeah, and I think the report we got from the new year this year is that there was a lot of revenge spending. That was the word they were using. So I don't know, it's going to show up in the results in the next couple of quarters.
Let's hope so. Well, there were a lot of uninspiring numbers, however. Think the 1% growth at Adcock or Italtal's decline. But then again, there's only so much you can do in an unrelentingly tough environment.
We have changed management in our ceramic industries business. We continue to invest through the cycle. We had a new factory which came online 1.5 years ago that's starting to get to the numbers we expected to get to. And we investing in our Vitro factory. We've got a new production line starting there again before the end of this financial year for us. So we continue to look for opportunities to improve costs in our business and the efficiencies that we have internally to make sure we can bring affordable products to our customers of the quality that they're used to getting from us.
Which is why Avenge is putting all its eggs in the Australian basket.
We have, McConnell Dow, that's a great part of our organisation now. 90% of the revenues have come from that part of the business. And then, of course, Morgan's is remaining here in South Africa. So as a consequence of McConnell Dow being such a significant portion of the business now, as you would have noted, we're now releasing our results under the Australian denomination. So everything is in Australian dollar now, and we've moved consolidating our executive of the team in Australia.
Imagine living in Australia with 20 million accents like that.
And we have to convert those results from Aussie dollars into rands.
It used to be very easy because you used to add 0. I think it's still sticking.
It was 1 to 10, it's 1 to 12.
But do you think, okay, so if we start off with Avenge, they have pivoted. They still have South African assets, but if that's the principal growth area for them, Is it a good thing, or do you have in the back of your mind the Wilson Bailey Homes and how they came home from Australia with their tail between their legs?
It's not that for me. It's so now this is a bias. I've got that thing in my head that says, meme stonk, just avoid. There you go.
Yeah.
That's another bias, but this is a good one. It helps me stay away from such things.
Australia's not an easy. It's not easy with the trade unions. It's a very woke-ish country. It's like they're trying to get away from being woke, but they still the greenies and all these kind of things. I don't know. Bernard Bird. I mean, Bitcore have done very well, but I think that's Bernard. But it's a much more global business. Doing business in Australia not easy. Ask Woolworths. Ask Pick and Pay. Ask Wilson
What
Bailey.
struck me with Adcock, like the OTC is going down. I mean, it's just like left, right, and centre. People are staying home sick.
Yeah. Are you talking Adcock?
Adcock and Italtal. I mean, Lance Foxcroft said unrelentingly tough. That's what it's like in South Africa. It's just
it's very, very difficult.
And
I think it comes back to the volume decrease. You're seeing it in every business. People aren't spending. They haven't got it to spend. So whatever they do, they're just making it stretch further. They're going to checkers. That's why you see so many 60-60 people running around there. It's become a game to try and knock them off their bikes.
And finally, if Cyril Ramaphosa can do a line in presidential blow-up dolls, he is the blow-up doll, then Donald Trump surely can get away with some merch of his own, like his new $399 golden sneakers. As the New York Times writes, gilded high tops as shiny as the chandeliers at Mar-a-Lago. They have an American flag wrapping the ankle like the forest of flags that spring up behind Mr. Trump whenever he takes stage. They have red soles to match his trademark red ties, and there's a large embossed T on the side and on the tongue. But never surrender? Well, there's the rub, writes the paper. Like Mr. Trump's tendency to turn every courtroom appearance into a form of entertainment that can be used as a campaign, his effort to commoditize his legal jeopardy is a long-term strategic play. In reducing his indictments to a slogan, he is reducing their gravity. Or maybe he's just doing what he's good at, selling a shiny, crass dream.
Yeah, I mean...
You like sneakers? You buying a pair? 8K?
No, wait. Look, I saw that video that's trending currently, the Fox video of the guy talking about the sneakers and how it appeals to black people. That's racist. It's the most racist thing you will see. Just try find the video. It's why would you think people all of a sudden are going to vote for Trump just because he has sneakers? That's so deductive, so small-minded, so stupid for it to be on TV
That's
and
Trump.
actually play.
That's Fox, I was going to say.
I don't know. Where do they get these people?
I'm glad.
I'm
glad to see Brad.
America, the land of the free. We have to leave it there, unfortunately. David, Brad, thanks for joining us. That was the week that was. Have a good evening and a great weekend.